Barochem everyone, Apostolic Watchman here, back with another video. Before we get things started, I do want to apologize for the lighting. My other photography bulb just randomly fell off the shelf and broke. Ironically, it was right after I did my last video about Obamacare possibly ending up back in the Supreme Court this year. So I do apologize for the lighting. I'd also like to ask that you bear with me. If I sound like I'm not speaking as loudly or as clearly as I normally do, it's because I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. So please bear with me. Special shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank you very much for being a part of the channel. And I just pray that this channel would be a blessing to you and that it would help you to grow in your walk with Christ. Getting right into this thing, if you haven't heard about this bill yet, Speaker Pelosi has stated that she wants to prioritize this bill called the Equality Act. And now, this isn't a new bill. This is actually a bill that's been around for a few years now, and they just haven't been able to get this thing passed in Congress. And what it would do, it's a bill that would amend the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to include gender identity and sexual orientation to the list of things protected from discrimination. And so, in kind of looking at what's been going on, I really began to question about why Democrats in the House want to prioritize this bill. Now, obviously, they can't do that right now because the government is shut down. And so, if you are a subscriber who has a government job that's not getting paid, my prayers are with you. I just pray that, this thing would, be resolved and you can get back to taking care of your family. But, with the government being shut down, there isn't going to be much going on in politics. But I really began to question why they want this bill. I mean, right now we are going through the longest government shutdown in American history. And what's at the forefront? President Trump has requested that he get funding for a border wall, and Democrats have said no. Now, why are they saying that? Well, honestly, I believe if Democrats were to cave in and strike a deal with President Trump and the Republicans on border security, that wouldn't go over too well with their voter base. Same thing with healthcare. We have a messed up healthcare system right now, and Democrats have said that they're open to fixing it. So why are they prioritizing this bill over fixing healthcare? Well, if you remember, President Trump campaigned on the idea that we need to get rid of Obamacare. So I feel that if Democrats were to strike a deal with President Trump and the Republicans on healthcare, that would not go over well with their voter base. And so, I hate to sound like I'm fear-mongering, because I'm not. Everything in this video is 100% my opinion, and you can kind of take it how you want. But honestly, I feel like the only reason why Democrats in the House have said that they want to prioritize this bill is because they're trying to set themselves up for 2020. If you look at everything that we have going on, right? You've got the opioid crisis, you've got a messed up healthcare system, you've got issues at the border with human trafficking and drug smuggling, you've got trade issues with China, civil war in Yemen, civil war in Syria. I mean, there's so many other things that we could be focusing on, and yet Democrats have said that they want to prioritize this bill. Now, why is that? Well, if you look at it, it's really a win-win situation, because should they get this bill passed, it makes them look good to their voter base. And if not, well, that gives them leverage. And honestly, I'm calling their bluff now, because should they fail to get this bill passed, I would not be the least bit surprised if going into 2020, that if they were to try and paint President Trump and the Republicans as being homophobic. And how are they going to do that? Well, if you remember, President Trump placed a ban on transgender people from serving in the military. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if, should they fail to get this bill passed, if they were to go into 2020 and say, President Trump is homophobic. And when they ask for proof, they're going to say, well, if President Trump wasn't homophobic, then why did he place a ban on transgender people from serving in the military? And then, should any Republicans in Congress who are up for election vote against this bill when it does eventually make its way into Congress, they're going to single those ones out as well. And so I'm calling their bluff now and calling it for what it is, and nothing more than political strategy to try and win in 2020. Now, why they would take that angle, I don't know, because if you think about this, if you tried to paint President Trump as being a racist xenophobe, and that didn't keep him from getting elected in 2016, why would you try to put this issue at the forefront, potentially fail, and then try and flip it and make it paint President Trump as being homophobic in 2020? It doesn't make any sense. But I really do hope that they get this thing resolved with the government shutdown. And spiritually speaking, having something like this on the books would make life a lot more difficult for us, because the Bible is very clear in teaching that homosexuality is a sin. And so I don't see how we can avoid scrutiny in taking a stand on what the Bible teaches and having it be labeled, hate speech. That's where my concern is. Should they get this bill passed, are they going to try and paint the Bible as being a book that promotes hate speech against gay and transgendered people? I would hope not, God forbid, but spiritually speaking, this is why God is very much upset with our country right now. We just don't have our priorities straight. And if you watch my video about the blood moon, I explained to you about how America is in the time of her visitation right now. And the last thing we need to do in a time like this is be adding sin to sin. We don't need to do that. And so it's important that we just all watch and pray. Pray that, the divisiveness in politics would, begin to settle down a bit, because I don't think anybody would disagree that, the political climate right now in America is just very, very divisive. And so I just pray that, things would just begin to settle down. Pray that, the Republicans and the Democrats can find a way to meet in the middle, and end this government shutdown so that it's not affecting people anymore, and keep our eyes on the future. Make sure to get ready. You know, the lunar eclipse is coming this weekend, so make sure you stay up Sunday night so you can see the lunar eclipse. They're really cool to look at. Thank you again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Please share this video with others. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. God bless.